Hey everybody, in this section you're going to learn how to use a calculator to find the trig functions. There are several of these identities that will be helpful and you may need to use them today. The first set of identities are the reciprocal identities. Those are on page 29. The second set of identities are the quotient identities. Although we haven't really looked at those at all this year, you can kind of look at them. They are on page 34. And here's how it works. If you have a sine divided by a cosine, it's the same as a tangent. So you'll be using that to help you solve some calculator questions. Cosine divided by sine is cotangent. The other identities that you'll be working with today are the cofunctions, and we have used those before. Those are on page 47. So these are the important page numbers. I recommend writing down page 29, 34, and 47 along with the title for today. So we're going to learn how to type this into the calculator. You want to write down these examples, and we're going to decide if these are true or false statements. And you can see page 52. First one. So again, write this down. The sine of 50 degrees, is that greater than the sine of 40 degrees? So we're going to figure that out by doing the calculations on a graphing calculator. So use the calculator that's embedded into your Chromebook, and it looks like this one. This one is a TI-84CE, just like yours. The only difference is the way that the screen is set up. My screen is up above. I can change the view so that my screen is part of the calculator, but that just makes it really tiny. So I'm just going to have the calculator screen next to my calculator so you can see the buttons I'm pressing. Okay, the first thing I want to do is put it into the correct mode. So find the mode key at the top here. I'm going to press the mode key, and I want to change this to degree mode. So I'm going to arrow down and over, and I'm going to hit enter, and that's going to be my degree mode. You can kind of see what buttons I'm pressing here as well as I'm going through. Okay, now I'm going to clear out of that. I'm in degree mode. And what I'm trying to figure out is the sine of 50 versus the sine of 40. I'm going to type those in. So I'm going to find the sine key. It's right here. Sine 50. Now, the reason I don't need to hit degree is because I'm already in degree mode. And I'm going to press enter. We're going to round to 6 decimal places. So count over 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I'm going to round to 0.766044. Next, I'm going to test out the sine of 40 degrees. So I'm going to write sine 40, hit enter, and again I'm going to round to 6 decimal places. So count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now this time it's a 7, but it's followed by a 6. So that means we need to round this number up. If the number behind it is 5 or up, round up. So it's going to be 642,788. So is this true or false? And if you look at this number, this is bigger than, remember the alligator eats the bigger number? This is bigger than the 0.64, so this is true. Sine of 46 is less than the cosine of 46. We're going to go to the calculator and try this out. Okay, I'm going to clear this out. Sine 46 and press enter. Again, round to 6 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here we go again. I've got a 9 directly followed by an 8. So I'm going to have to round this up. Well, the next number after 9 is 10, so let's actually look at both of these numbers. This 39 is going to round up to 40. So it's going to be 0.719340. Next, cosine. Cosine of 46 Again, count 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The number behind the 8 is a 3, so we're going to leave it alone. So write that number down. Comparing these two numbers, this number 0.71 is not smaller than 0.69, so this is false. Think about money. If you had 72 cents versus 69 cents, this would be less than, so this is not correct. Next one is tangent. So we're going to find the tangent of 41. Again, I definitely recommend writing these examples down. Tangent of 41 degrees. I'm going to clear this out. Type tangent. So tangent's right here. It's the third sine, cosine, tangent. 41. Again, the reason I'm not pressing degrees is because I went up here to mode and I made sure that I changed the calculator by arrowing down and over, and I changed it to degree mode. So as I'm typing in these numbers, clear to get out of this. As I'm typing in these numbers, the calculator knows that this is 41 degrees. So I'm going to hit enter. Count over 6 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since this is a 6 at the end and that's a 7, I'm going to have to round it up. Again, right here, look at the number behind it. That tells us if it's a 5 or up, we're going to round this up. Okay, so you can see I got 0.869287. Next, I'm going to find the cotangent of 41. So far, all of these have been direct calculations. Unfortunately, cotangent is not one of the keys that I have. So some of you may be thinking, oh, what if I push the second and then push the tangent? That's not a cotangent. What you're looking at here is the inverse of a tangent. We use this when we have a missing angle, so that's not it. What you have to do instead is you're going to use one of these reciprocal identities. Okay, so check this out. If I have a cotangent, the cotangent is the same as 1 divided by tangent. And we do have a tangent button. So that's what I'm going to write. I'm going to write that cotangent is the same as 1 divided by the tangent of 41 degrees. So now I can type it into the calculator like this. 1 divided by tangent 41 degrees. So let's try this out. I'm going to hit clear. 1 divided by tangent 41. And you'll see that I got this number. I'm going to count over 6 numbers after the decimal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's an 8 and then a 4, so I'm going to leave it 8. Okay, and if you compare these two numbers, this number on the left, which is about 87 cents, is definitely less than $1.15, so this one is true. Okay, last one we're looking at is secant. Again, if you look at your calculator, you will see that there is no such thing as a secant button. So I need to go back to my reciprocals and see what the secant is equal to. Secant is the same as 1 divided by the cosine. Secant is the same as 1 divided by the cosine. So that's what I'm going to use. 1 divided by cosine. And this is also secant, so 1 divided by cosine. So I'm going to type it in that order. 1 divided by cosine 60. Round to 6. Oh, I don't have to round this one. It just equals 2. Let's try the cosine. 1 divided by cosine of, this time 30. See if it's any different. And this time we do get some decimals, so round to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, now this one's kind of tricky because it's a 0, but it's followed by a 5. If this number is 5 or up, round up. So here's where I'm cutting it off at the 0. Since it's a 5 behind it, I need to round this up. So it would be 1.154701. And to answer this question, is 2 greater than this number over here? Yes. So this is true. The important part about this section isn't deciding whether something's true or false. It's figuring out how to type these into the calculator. So you're going to be working with a lot of questions, and you're going to be typing them into a calculator. The other thing that you're doing today is you should be reading section 2.3 and answering these questions. So if you haven't already read it, please pause the video and read section 2.3 because it will answer each one of these questions. So again, make sure you've read section 2.3 first, and then you'll be writing these onto your paper. So kind of check and see if you got them right. Question 1. You do not have to copy the question, just write the word in the blank. The caution at the beginning of this section suggests verifying that a calculator is in degree mode by finding the sine of 90 degrees. If the calculator is in degree mode, then the display should be, well, we can even try this out, sine 90, and this is also in your book, but it will equal 1. Okay, so for question 1, you just need to write the word sine and then the number 1. Question 2, when a scientific or graphing calculator is used to find trigonometric function values, in most cases the result is an, okay, is it exact or approximate? Well, based on the answers we got in the examples, those were approximate. Remember, we rounded them. So for number 2, just write a 2 and write approximate. Question 3, and again, I hope you read this section. All of this information is there as well. To find values of cotangent, secant, and cosecant, it is necessary to find the reciprocal. We did that with secant, and you saw we did that with cotangent, of the reciprocal function values. Again, when you do these questions 1 through 5, you just need to write the answers. You don't have to copy the questions. Okay, number 4, to determine the cosecant, we find the reciprocal of the. All right, well, we can look back if you don't remember cosecant. Here we go. So cosecant matches up with sine. So let's write that down. Cosecant will be sine. That's how you spell out the word sine of the angle. But to determine the angle with a given cosecant value, we find the. Okay, so now if you know the cosecant and you're looking for the angle, you use what's known as the inverse of the sine. And again, this is all in the reading for section 2.3. Okay, one last example. Let's look at example 5. So if I want to use the calculator for this, the problem is this is minutes. And so far, we don't know how to put minutes into a calculator. So what you can do is bring out the 38 degrees, and we're going to figure out how many minutes this equals. So as we did it before, 1 degree equals 60 minutes. So all you have to do is divide by 60. So 42, here, let me clear this first. 42 divided by 60, and I get 0.7. So instead of 42 minutes, I'm going to put 0.7 into my calculator. So this will be sine of 38.7. Okay, now I'm going to find out what that is. Use a calculator to find decimal approximations. Give as many digits as your calculator displays. No, we're going to do 6, just like we did in the example. Okay, so we're going to find the sine of 38.7. Clear? Okay, I'm going to do the sine of 38.7. And we're going to count 6 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Notice this is a 2, but it's directly followed by a 6. So you need to round this 2 up. 625, 625, 2, 4, 3. Okay, same thing on this one. You're going to divide by 60, And then you're going to find the cosine of 41 point whatever you get. Same thing goes here and so on. Okay, now be careful with secant, because when you type it in, after you, actually we could do these, all these. So let's do 24 divided by 60. And that's equal to 0.4. So I'm finding the cosine of 41.4. And again, round it to 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That way we're just all consistent. If we're all doing the same rounding, we can check answers easily. 750111. Okay, last but not least, divide by 60. So 15 divided by 60. Let me clear this. 15 divided by 60 is 0.25. Okay, so I've got secant of 13.25. The problem is we don't have a button for secant. So if you go back to your little list here, again, this is why you want to have these page numbers handy. The secant is the same as 1 divided by the cosine. So we're going to type in 1 divided by cosine, 13.25. See what we get here. 1 divided by cosine, 13.25. And again, round to 6 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, this 8's going to have to round up. Okay, as you can see, I've got the 0, 2, 7, 3, 4, and then 9. So on the same sheet of paper that you used for those first problems that we worked together, continue working on 6 through 22 all. Have a good day.